For many years in my life, I sat in my room questioning what it is that I should do. I had the desire to be an artist, I had the desire to be a producer, I had the desire to be a mixing engineer, a writer, a lot of things. The problem is that the thought of it frustrated me so hard that it got me to stay up at night. In order for me to rest my mind and to cope with what I was experiencing and what I wasn't doing, I started to smoke weed in the hopes of numbing my thoughts. In the beginning, it did numb my thoughts and it did slow everything down. But it didn't last long because a point came when the thoughts became worse when I was smoking weed. And that led me to smoking even more and more and more, that it basically got me to the point of being so stoned that I was paralyzed and couldn't even get up to go to bed. That I became so lazy that now I had other problems on my hand to solve. But there was something that I needed to do that I wasn't doing. First and foremost, the fact that I was overthinking was an indicator of a bad habit that I had. The bad habit that I had is that I wasn't taking action to figure out if I actually liked doing the thing that I was thinking about. You know, the thing is, you can think as much as you want, but everything that you think about just stays in your mind. But you have to get it out into the world. Because we can fantasize about many different things. We can fantasize that we are rich and we can overthink about how are we going to get rich, but then we spend most of our time just thinking that we don't even do the thing that will get us to be rich. The definition of rich, I'll leave that up to your own interpretation. But if you want to achieve a goal, if you want to do something, just sitting there and thinking isn't going to help. So every time I have a thought and I recognize that I'm thinking too much about it, I know that I just have to act. The problem with overthinking is that it keeps you stuck in the same position. Overthinking makes sure that nothing is progressing and that you stay with the same thoughts and the same ideas that you've had. And the more you overthink, the more afraid you will become. Because the more time you give yourself to think, the more emotions you allow yourself to experience, and those emotions usually don't help you. There's a golden rule that when you want to act, when you get a thought, act within 7 seconds. Do it as quickly as you can, because maybe you have a good idea, but you won't know if you don't act. You won't know if you discover what it actually holds for you. So I myself have wasted many years of my life thinking of wanting to be an artist, that it was only up until I took the time to be an artist and spent a full year trying to become a rapper, that I then realized, yeah, I don't think this is the path for me, because I don't see myself doing this for the rest of my life. I'm getting close to hitting 30. I don't really want to be a rapper at 30. I want to have a bigger impact, because I see the world that I'm getting indulged in, and I don't want that. I don't want to be associated with that. I want to be able to spread my message in a way that is way deeper. So that's why I'm recording YouTube videos. But I wouldn't have known this if I didn't act. I wouldn't have known this if I didn't decide to discover and to follow my interests. You may have something that you want to do. Good. Allow your curiosity to always lead you to the next path. Always try it out. Especially if you don't know what you have to do. There's this thing called a purpose. And you may have heard this oftentimes from many other people, but what does it mean, purpose? Purpose can be an objective that you want to achieve, an objective that you want to accomplish. But before you know what your real purpose is, you must first discover all the other purposes you have to go through before you can achieve it. So for example, in this book called The Way of the Superior Man, it's explained very well. You have the main goal that you want to achieve, which sits in the middle. But around that middle, there are a lot of different circles that you have to break through. There are the small, as I would call it, dead ends that you have to reach to figure out what it is that you actually have to do. So before you want to become a very spiritual person, maybe you have to go through a lot of pain. Maybe you have to go to parties. Maybe you have to build up a family, get married, have children, work a corporate job to then realize that this is not worth it, to discover the spiritual path that you want to take. But you knowing where you got to go didn't come from just sitting there. Before I knew that I was going to be a YouTuber, that I was going to make content, that I was going to inspire people by talking, I had to take action. I had to just do it. To then realize that, oh fuck, maybe making music isn't really the right thing for me to do, bro. But what you will experience along your way is that there will be resistance. Resistance is that voice in your head that will tell you that you are not good enough. Resistance is that voice in your head that will tell you that you shouldn't be doing this. Resistance, all it wants to do is to keep you small. Resistance doesn't want you to grow, because if you grow, that means that you will improve. Resistance tries to keep you small as possible, as small as it can, because then that means that it has power over you. Ever been afraid when you needed to take action? A thought in your head popped up and it said, you're not good enough. Or maybe you wanted to approach a girl that you thought was very beautiful, and your mind told you, don't do that. You're too ugly. That's not quite insecurity, but that is resistance. But what's funny enough is that your doubts, your insecurities, and your fears usually indicate an area of growth. It actually indicates something that you should act on, because that means that you will become better. What I've experienced in my life is that you have to be very self-aware of the emotions that you are feeling, and that you actually have to listen to the doubts and the insecurities and do the opposite of what it is telling you. That will allow you to overcome the overthinking thoughts that you are experiencing. The more you get used to acting while you are insecure, while you are afraid, while you experience self-doubt, when you have them and you act, you stop thinking, because there's nothing to think about. The only thing you think about is to recognize whether or not you are experiencing them. Growth lies behind a very thin wall of discomfort, and that discomfort is covered in the emotions that you experience, in the things that make you feel afraid. And so it is your responsibility to act on those things, because as you act on those things, the better you will become. How unlogical it may sound and it may seem to act on the negative emotions that you are feeling and experiencing, but you're not really acting on them. You're doing the opposite of what they are telling you. So if you wake up tomorrow morning and you don't want to get up, get up. Do the opposite of what it's telling you, because that is a form of resistance. Resistance will never show itself purely. Resistance will always cover itself up in something else, in doubt, in insecurity, in fear. And so in order to overcome resistance and to build up a habit of getting into the motion and getting into the flow, you have to do it. The fact that you are actually experiencing doubt, the fact that you are actually experiencing insecurity, the fact that you are actually experiencing fear is a sign that you're actually made to be great. You know, this sounds very extreme, but every day you are being given the opportunity to improve. And experiencing these things is a blessing. It's the most beautiful thing that there can be. Because if you act accordingly to what I've just explained, to do the opposite of what you feel in those moments, you will grow. You will grow undoubtedly, because that is delayed gratification. Maybe you've heard it, maybe you've not, but instant gratification is a form of instantly gratifying yourself, but in the long term, it will not be a benefit of you. Delayed gratification is you acting, feeling pain, but in a longer period of time, it will be of benefit for you. Now imagine if you constantly act on your fears, if you constantly act on your overthinking thoughts, well, do the opposite of your overthinking thoughts, so to say. What do you think will happen? You will make progress, you will grow, you'll become better. That's how it works. That's how you grow. That's how you develop. So when your thoughts appear, when you feel insecure, when you feel afraid, when you feel like you're not good enough, when you feel like an imposter, do exactly that. Do exactly the opposite of what your brain is telling you. And trust me, when I tell you your brain is not to be trusted, believe me. Because I used to listen to my brain always, every time, consistently. And it got me to be depressed. It got me to be unhappy. It got me to do nothing with myself. So it's absolutely valuable that despite not knowing what to do, maybe if you have an idea of who you want to be, just act and figure out if that is what you like. The data you'll get back is way more valuable than the thoughts and the emotions that you feel. But do use your emotions to your advantage by doing the opposite of what they're telling you. I hope this video has been of value for you. I want to wish you a very nice day. Oh, by the way, if you want to learn how to manage your emotions and to make better decisions, click the first link in the description box or go down to the comment section and click that link. Also, don't forget to leave a comment behind, and remember that you are 100% responsible for the results in your life. Make the hard decision today, and I'll see you in the next one. All right? Bye-bye.